KSEE24 and First 5 Fresno County bring you a live forum with area leaders focused on children's first 5 years. How children can thrive with affordable, quality child care and reduced preterm births. These topics and more in the special Early Childhood Matters.
Hey there, good evening and welcome to this First 5 Fresno County Live Forum. I'm Evan Onstott. First 5 is a local organization with one goal: to help Fresno County kids age 0 through 5 reach their full potential. And tonight we have special reports on issues vital to the success of local kids. And we'll speak with a panel of elected officials and community leaders on the best way to help our children thrive. And to start things off, we're actually joined by First 5 Executive Director Emilia Reyes. Emilia, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Evan, for having us here.
Well, absolutely, because what we're doing tonight I think is really important, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we're excited and happy to actually partner with KSEE24 to bring our elected officials together to talk about our young children. And as the Executive Director for First 5 Fresno County, it's an important topic, obviously. But on a personal level, as a mother, this is very near and dear to my heart. And so at First 5 Fresno County, we focus on the first 5 years of life. We want all children to have a strong foundation so they can meet their full potential. So we fund programs and invest in efforts to really improve the lives of our young children in Fresno County.
Absolutely, and the thing that jumps out over and over as we put these stories together and worked on this special is what happens when kids are young tends to extend throughout their lives as they grow older, and we see those connections.
Yes, so research proves that 90% of the brain develops in the first 5 years of life, and so what that means is the way we interact with our children and the way our community supports our kids really impacts their future, and that can be for better or worse.
All right, awesome. Well, you're on our panel, so we're going to be hearing a lot more from you about exactly all that stuff, so we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Emilia. Love, music, laughter, they are some of the most important elements of ensuring children make the most of their first 5 years. A local family is living proof of that, and they show how interaction is the key for proper brain development. My co-anchor, Stephanie Barugian, gets things started for us with our first report.
This is family time at the Abudi household in Fresno. Frank Abudi is sharing his love of music with his 4.5-year-old daughter, Delali. They're creating a song together.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Mommy.
Hi, Mommy.
Grandma, Uncle Sam will be by you.
Family time is fun for Delali, whether it's singing with Dad, reading with Mom, or coloring with Grandma.
2 is...
Oh, the green one.
But the Abudis always make sure something else is slipped in, a little bit of learning.
I don't want her to be playing catch-up in school. Yeah. I want her to have all the basics established so that she can just jump off and go whatever direction she wants.
The Abudis are on the right track with Delali. She attends a preschool, and they provide a safe and loving home. Read and sing every day, and they teach her every chance they get. They agree with experts who say a child's early years, from birth to 5, are most important.
In those first 5 years, the brain develops the most. So 90% of a child's brain develops the most in those first 5 years, which means that early experiences matter because they will have a long-lasting impact until adulthood.
Fabiola Gonzalez is with First 5 Fresno County. Their mission is to spread this message to parents, future parents, and the community as a whole.
A community raises children, so from the teachers, from the adults, from the employers, of the parents. So how do we make sure that the community understands their role?
For employers, that role may be providing a child care stipend for working parents, flexible hours, or even a lactation room for nursing moms.
I do not like green eggs and ham.
I do not like them, Samaya.
Very good.
For parents and even grandparents, it's understanding that they are their child's first teacher and play an important role in helping their child's brain develop to its full potential.
Research has proven is that all of these early experiences, the more positive they are, there are more connections in the brain happening in those first 5 years.
Early learning, even for infants, is reflected once a child enters school. They're more prepared, experts say, and more likely to achieve success.
When we talk about kids who are ready to enter kindergarten, on grade level reading by 3rd grade, graduating from high school, on to college, there's one common thread that we see in all of them, and it's that first years of that child's life.
The message is of utmost importance to Fresno County School Superintendent Jim Yovino. He says 85% of kids in juvenile hall are functionally illiterate, and of those who attend county schools in general, 60% have not had the benefit of early learning. Yovino wants to see those numbers change.
You don't have to be wealthy to read to your child. You don't need to buy fancy devices and work with them on computers. We just simply need to talk and read and sing every day to our children.
A message the Abudi family has embraced.
I guess my hopes for her is that she can do whatever she wants to do. I want her to have all those doors open. I don't want her to feel like she can only pick from a couple of different things to do in her life.
Stephanie Barugian, KSEE24, local news that matters.
Stephanie, thank you so much. What a great report. What an adorable family, right? And it's a great report to kick us off and frame tonight's discussion. We have a wonderful panel here who's going to be discussing these important issues. We are joined. We're going to start with Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smittcamp. Thanks so much for being here. We
Thank you for inviting me.
Fresno County Superintendent of Schools Jim Yovino is here. Jim, always good to see you.
Great to be here.
Fresno County Supervisor, former school and hospital board member as well, Brian Pacheco is here. Thanks so much for being here, sir. Also, the mayor of Parlier, Alma Beltran, who I understand works as a correctional officer as well. So thank you for being here. We appreciate that. Now, you just met First Five Executive Director Emilia Reyes, and we also welcome State Senator Anthony Cannella, who represents a large part of West Fresno County as well. So thanks so much for being here, everybody. We appreciate it. And we got all parents here as well. Everybody's a parent. All right, who wins in the amount of children? I know you have 4, right, Senator?
Yep.
Is anybody else? Can anybody else match that?
Nope.
No. All right, you are the winner.
I have 4 too.
You have 4 too. All right. Oh, there we go. Robin, you thought you were going to run away with it. I mean, when it comes to raising children, I mean, here's the things. When we raise these kids when they're babies, are we thinking about? And I have a baby myself. Are we thinking all the time of we need to do this? I mean, you both raised 4 of them. Are you thinking I need to make sure I start this or that, or is it just being a good parent? I'm just curious when that, because I wasn't aware of all these things.
Well, as a mom, you do have to prepare because you do want the best for your child. So you want to provide just the support and showing them that they need to be kind and get the education that they want to have a better future for their future. They have a great future. So and you want to have the best for your child. So you do prepare yourself for that.
Absolutely. And I suppose, and also your role, Senator, is that, as a parent and as somebody who oversees a district in which you're caring about thousands of kids, how big of a problem of this is something that pops up in your mind?
Well, we had 3 under 2 years old, so it was really crisis management.
Oh, man.
But, it's something that you do think about. I mean, I think on the natural, when you have time, you want to sleep or do something else. But I think it's important to spend time with your kids. Those first 5 years are very important, and we made a conscious effort. But in general, I think it's important for every parent to do that. So I think it's critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Emilia, when we hear about the importance, the 90% that you mentioned of the brain development, I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, and the thing is that they learn very quickly and absorb their entire environment in those first 5 years of life, and just interacting with them makes a significant difference in their future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I think when it comes to, we talk about creating a positive environment for parents to be able to do that, because one of the reasons why we have everybody here, it's not just to talk about, hey, let's be great parents. It's how can we make it easier for parents to do that? Mm-hmm. One thing is just making it that friendly parent environment. How are businesses here in Fresno County doing when it comes to making things easier and supportive for parents? Supervisor, what's your feeling on how the business culture is for parents?
Well, I think every business is keenly aware of it now, and then they're taking steps to do those things. Fresno County is one of the largest employers, and I think it starts from the top down. We as supervisors put a high importance on that, so our department heads are doing that. We always try and be flexible for our families. And even in our own personal business, our farm, we all have routine schedules, and our cows have to be milked every day around the clock. But when something comes up with your family or your child, immediately our foremen, our supervisors know you're allowed to immediately leave and go take care of your family, because if your mind isn't with your family, you really can't focus on the job. So it's a dual benefit that I think all businesses are really focused on now.
Yeah, and we'll speak a little bit more about things that we can do to really boost that as much as possible. I did want to mention, since we're talking a little bit about business, there is this, if you pay it early, then you're going to save money in the long run. We have something we can pop up on the screen. It says if you invest $1 early in a child's life, for every $1 spent, there is a savings down the road of anywhere from $3 to $17, because we can see when it comes to anything, Jim, we were just talking about this beforehand, anything from when it comes to maybe problems down the line, legal problems down the line. I mean, it's best to get ahead of things as much as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, whether it's kids who head down the wrong path and they end up in one of my programs as county superintendent, I'm tasked with a school inside of juvenile hall to kids with special needs. The earlier that we can identify issues with our kids, you know, I think the better we are to serve them later in life. And that's where that dollar amount changes. Early identification of kids. You know, Evan, as I talked to you earlier, you know, I was this guy who was convinced that every kid should be reading on grade level by 3rd grade. I still am. But I also was convinced at one time that every kid should come to school and be able to enter kindergarten prepared and ready to go. And then I thought, no, it's about every 4-year-old should be in preschool and every 3-year-old should be in preschool. But as many on this panel know now, really what we're looking at, it's all the way back to preconception. You know, we need healthy moms, we need healthy dads, we need babies who are born healthy, and to provide that early intervention, that when you talk about that number from 3 to 17, you know, we need that kid to have a great start in life.
Yeah, absolutely. District Attorney, I just wanted to bring you in here because of all the people that you prosecute. I'm sure that there's some tragic backstories there for so many of these people, that maybe they just didn't have the right environment and they didn't have that great first 5 years.
Yeah, there's usually always a story to somebody who enters the criminal justice system, especially when they come in as juveniles. So a big responsibility that I feel I have as a district attorney, I always say when I speak that being the DA is actually my second job, because my first and most important job is being a mother to my children. And I think that what we see in the DA's office, whether it's juveniles that come in who have committed crimes, or we see adults who are continuing to commit crimes, is you have broken children. They may be 40 years old, they may be 50 years old, or they may be 14 years old. And they have come from environments where they haven't had the best upbringing, or they haven't had circumstances which have allowed them to be the best that they can be. So the reason that the DA's office is involved in a lot of different programming with the County Office of Ed and First Five, and we try to be out there, is to try to keep kids out of the system. Because in the world we live in today, it's not just about prosecuting people, it's about prevention. Yeah. And we want to take an active role in that.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about prevention after the break when we move on to some other stories. How can we make these kids thrive in our communities? By the way, if you're watching now and you want to learn more about First 5 Fresno County, you can go to their website. It's first5fresno.org. You can also send them an email at info@first5fresno.org. We got more to come on this First 5 Fresno County Live Forum.
It's important for us to make sure that every day when we wake up, our one mission is what can we do to make the world better for kids in Fresno County.
What is the strategy to ensure Fresno County kids thrive in the classroom and in life? We've got that story next.
There are so many great stories in education across the Central Valley.
Stories of standout students and teachers, innovative programs, and curriculum.
All dedicated to one mission, improving our valley through education.
The Fresno County Office of Education and KSEE24 are committed to telling these stories.
Featuring exemplary examples of education in our community.
Education Matters, Mondays on KSEE24.
Made possible by EECU, Fresno State, and Table Mountain Rancheria.
Great pizza starts here. We mix it and it sits for one entire day in one of our dough barrels. And it ages. Every partner does this every day. What I like about the sauce is you can taste the garlic and the full bodiness of the sauce through the cheese. How do you top all that? With our 5-cheese blend and locally sourced meats and vegetables. And only then is it ready for our seasoned brick.
And right now, you can get a large 3-topping pizza for just $11.95.
Perfect. When you've been making it for 50 years, you know it's good.
Baptiste has mastered new ways to play old classics. With Chase ATMs, he can master new ways to deposit checks too. Easy to use Chase technology for whatever you're trying to master.
The Honda Take Home a CRV sales event is here with incredible deals. Loaded with standard features like Pandora compatibility, a multi-angle rear view camera, and plenty of cargo space. It's no wonder the CRV was named to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Buy for 2016. Hurry into the Honda Take Home a CRV sales event and get a great deal today.
The clock is ticking. It's time to get going. Fast. It's time for a career. So how do you get trained for a career fast? SJVC. With guaranteed class schedules and accelerated programs, you can be ready for a career in as little as 7 months. Like a career in business. Learn skills like payroll accounting, marketing techniques, sales strategies, and more. It happens fast. It happens at SJVC. Visit sjvc.edu to learn more.
KSEE24 and First 5 Fresno County bring you a live forum. This is Early Childhood Matters.
Welcome back. Educating kids, it's a never-ending process. And here in Fresno County, steps are being taken to provide kids with as many resources as possible to get them ready for school. George Takata talked to a few leaders in our community working to create an environment where young kids can thrive.
Call it baby brain power. The learning process for kids begins the moment they enter the world. And the stronger the mind, the better the odds of success in the classroom. First 5 Fresno County helps with that process, giving kids ages 0 to 5 the head start they need as they begin their educational journey.
It's important for us to make sure that every day when we wake up, our one mission is what can we do to make the world better for kids in Fresno County.
Fresno County Supervisor Henry Parlier is also the commission chair for First 5. He helped create a partnership with the Fresno County Office of Education to build a state-of-the-art child development center. He envisions Fresno State students using the facility as a laboratory to incorporate new teaching techniques with the kids and using every resource possible to start them on the right path to success.
I think what we're creating here are the partnerships that are going to be the future, I believe, of helping kids in the community. When you get city, county, the education community partnering together and bringing in the business community to wrap themselves around these kids and make them strong and healthy, we're going to win.
Educators are rising up to the challenge of helping kids with early learning success. Fowler Unified Superintendent Eric Cedarquist attended the Strive Together Cradle to Career Network Conference in Memphis, Tennessee. Among the many things he took from the 3-day conference was how much teamwork it takes to prepare kids today for promising tomorrows.
The view that education is not an island of itself. Education involves other public agencies, health sectors, business sector, social services, and how they come together for the benefit of children so that we can ensure that all of our kids are successful, especially making them ready for kindergarten.
In 2014, Fowler Unified was one of 5 districts in Fresno County that received a 3-year grant funded by First 5 and used it to implement similar teaching methods with kids in their community.
The greatest success we've had is that it has led to the establishment of an early learning department in Fowler Unified School District and the other districts. So we now have an early learning department in that specifically for parents with children ages 0 to 3.
First 5 and community leaders are definitely helping kids get their education started on the right path at a very early age, but in the end, it's the parents who hold the key to their academic success.
If you're going to have a healthy child, you have to have a strong family. So we are doing the things that we have to do, working in partnership with other agencies to give the support to the parents that they need to make sure that they're raising a healthy child.
However, if the family unit isn't strong, the odds of them struggling when they get older are greater. Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smittcamp has seen many examples of uphill battles kids face.
A big part of the problem with our society today is that there's just a lack of awareness of what's going on, and so many parents are disconnected for a number of reasons from their children. We all get so busy with work and other activities and other things that distract us from sort of the basic necessities of really good parenting.
It all boils down to basic learning skills that begin at birth. And First 5 Fresno County is creating an environment where kids can thrive and get ahead of the learning curve.
The First 5 shows the type of leadership that you need in this community that can bring people together, create the partnerships, and in the end, we all work towards one goal, and that's making and building healthy children in Fresno County.
George Takata, KSEE24, local news that matters.
You know, as we're talking about getting children to thrive in our community and bringing them all up to the same level, there are challenges that we have that start right away that has nothing to do with the child themselves. There's, for example, a word gap. If a child is raised in a disadvantaged home, simply if the family does not have as much money as another family, by the age of, I believe, 3, a child will have 500 words to their vocabulary, whereas a non-disadvantaged child, a child that comes from an advantaged house, has 1,100 words. And the only difference here is that one child does not have money, lives in poverty. Jim, so I mean, that kind of shows, you're talking about the need to get the kids into preschool at 3, at 4, because it shows that immediately with some kids, you're playing behind the 8 ball and you need to try to get in there and make as big of a difference as possible, as fast as possible.
Absolutely, and Evan, that gap starts way before 3 and 4. That gap starts at birth. And that's why I encourage families, parents, and an adult in a child's life, a positive adult that can, I know we're repeating it, but this Talk, Read, Sing campaign is there for a reason. It can have an effect on a child. It's about brain development. It's about, sitting down with your kid and exploring and talking about, whether it's colors of cars. I remember as a dad, the games that we played, and they were fun games that I played with my own kids, but they really were about learning about colors, about space, about the world around us. One good example is I have a 93-year-old aunt that I still take care of to this day, who worked with my kids because my wife and I both went to work. We left. But my children were in very capable hands. Not a college graduate, someone who spoke broken English, but she loved my kids every day. She had her arms wrapped around them and she talked to them every day.
There was interaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and there's no substitute for that. That is one of the most important things that can happen in a child's life.
The interaction, you talked about the distraction, District Attorney Smittcamp, and I admit, sometimes when I'm home alone with my 11-month-old, there's times where I'll be looking at my phone, and I look over at little Austin, and she's looking at me like, hey, and I'm like, oh, geez.
Right, and I think that's something that goes over all of the socioeconomic areas of our community. It's not just kids that live in poverty that have issues with needing more parental attention. And I think the thing that we try to do, we at the DA's office, we deal a lot of times that people have broken families, maybe even people with domestic violence issues, is we try to educate, because I think a big part of what we need to do is to educate and make parents aware, because most parents are great people and they love their children. They want to be good parents, but we have a lot of people who just don't understand the importance of the talking, the reading, and the singing. And really, every day, it really isn't a money thing. It doesn't have to be a money thing. You can buy books at the dollar store. You can check books out of the library. You can use an opportunity when you're driving down the street or you're walking down the street to talk about colors and trees and flowers. As Jim was saying, there's an opportunity, especially for babies, even when they're 3, 6, 9 months old, to sing to them, to talk to them, to start to show them how to formulate sounds out of their mouth, and then eventually get to the talking stage.
So these are individual things that every parent can do, no matter how much money they make or how much, these are things that everybody can do. But what about communities? What about governmental agencies? You know, what about elected bodies? We have some elected officials here with us today. More than not, actually. Supervisor, what can we do better that we're not already doing that can help get these parents the help they need to maybe get their kids where they need to get?
Well, there's always room for improvement, but what I've learned being a first-term supervisor is just the immense resources that are currently being spent in partnerships with the County Office of Ed, with the District Attorney's Office. The men and women that are the frontline defense of these departments, social services, mental health, they have a true passion for this, and they're constantly looking for partnerships to expand and improve what we're doing. One of the good things about being new is we didn't come in with any preconceived notions or ideas, and we're willing to try new things and new programs. And over the first 2 years, I'm just amazed at the amount of new programs and things coming in to help people, because as Supervisor Reyes said in that segment, the strong family is the key to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to get the, you know, from a state senator's point of view as well as a small town mayor's point of view, you're still making decisions with children on the mind, I think, a lot of times. What can we do more that we're not already doing right now?
Well, I think from a statewide perspective, I think we've done a lot. I think the one thing we universally agree on in Sacramento is kids and what we can do for kids. And we've done a lot from increasing the contributions to education. We've increased almost $20 billion since I've been in office. We've currently, we've Health Care for All, which provides health care for undocumented kids, which I think is important. Yeah. And then we've just got rid of the maximum family grant. So you've got to be able to put more resources in families' pockets, and I think that's helpful, especially the areas that we represent. There's a very high poverty level. And if you can take some of that pressure off, then maybe they will feel like they can sing to their kids or talk to their kids or read to their kids. But when they're working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, that's very difficult. So I think we've done a lot, but of course there's more that we can do, and we're certainly we're looking at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mayor Beltran.
Yes, and being mayor of a rural community as well. It is very important to educate the families out there as far as what resources are available to them. Sometimes they don't know. Yeah. They don't have an idea where they can go to get services that they need for their children. So it's just providing the information out there for them is the key. So that you can educate them and get the resources that they need for their children, for the betterment of their children.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as we keep moving forward, we're going to be talking about preterm birth coming up after the break as we move forward, talking about other ways that we can, you know, help, because it's a lot of these little factors that lead to the preterm births. You know a lot about that, Emilia, for sure. You just actually got back from Africa. We're going to talk about that because still to come, it is one of Fresno County's most pressing health concerns.
Lungs have been underdeveloped. He needed a tracheostomy later, and that has helped him develop into a healthy boy.
The county has a preterm birth rate similar to some of the poorest countries in the world. We're going to take a look at how First Five is working to tackle that problem next.
KSEE24 is tracking local information about the Zika virus. Visit yourcentralvalley.com. See high-risk areas and know the symptoms. These resources and more in one convenient place at yourcentralvalley.com in partnership with these local experts.
You look so good, I almost feel bad eating you. But with juicy chicken bites and a tangy sweet and spicy sauce with world-famous seasoned fries for just $2, the good deals are never safe. The Sweet and Spicy Chicken Bites box. Chicken bites and sweet and spicy sauce with fries. Also available in Classic or Buffalo for just $2. Checkers and Rallies. Fast foodies know the deal.
Take an extra 21% off.
2 days only this Wednesday and Thursday at More Furniture for Less.
For 2 days, take an additional 21% off our guaranteed low price.
21% off every bedroom.
21% off every dining room.
21% off every living room.
An extra 21% off.
It's 2 days only this Wednesday and Thursday.
Take an extra 21% off.
Hurry. It positively ends Thursday night at 9 only at More Furniture for Less.
Keep creating. Keep planning. CalViva Health. A local health care plan at no cost to you or your future.
Turn the volume up and bang it out.
B95, #1 for hip-hop and #1 for new music.
Fresno's the city I call home. I'm about to turn it up.
What up, it's CK.
And Carmen.
From the Juice Crew Morning Show.
B95.
Yeah.
This is our point of view. If there's a bar, raise it. Awarded a 2016 NHTSA 5-star overall safety rating. This is the 201 horsepower Acura ILX. And this is how we make it. Visit your Northern California Acura dealer for attractive offers on the ILX.
KSEE24 and First 5 Fresno County bring you a live forum. This is Early Childhood Matters.
Now, welcome back. Preterm birth is the greatest contributor to infant death. And for the babies who do pull through, they often face incredible health challenges that affect them later in life. Right now, several organizations are doing research on the high preterm birth rate here in Fresno County. Our Jessica Porter has a look at a problem that affects all of us.
Like most toddlers, Caleb loves to sing. Serena Ledoux had Caleb when she was only 6 months pregnant. He has a tracheotomy and at 3 years old is learning to vocalize more.
Uh-oh, that Piggy?
Caleb was born weighing just 1 pound, 8 ounces. His hand so tiny it barely fit around his mother's fingertip.
This is Caleb's diaper. The first time that we put this on him, it was huge.
Ledoux is not alone. Fresno has a preterm birth rate on par with some of the poorest countries in the world and an infant mortality rate that's double the state average.
His lungs have been underdeveloped. He needed a tracheostomy later, and that has helped him develop into a healthy boy.
Caleb spent the first year of his life in the hospital, his second year on a ventilator at home, and his low immune system means he has frequent hospital visits. It costs 12 times more on average to care for a preemie than for a healthy newborn.
Not just the time they spend initially, but the number of times they have to come back, the number of procedures that they have to do afterwards. So you're talking about those first 5 years and being a lot of time, not just for this child now, but for the parents.
Dr. Benny Adeniji is a maternal fetal medicine specialist at Valley Children's Hospital. He says babies born preterm are at risk for long-term health issues and even death.
When you look at preterm birth, that is the highest cause of infant mortality in the United States and around the world. That's huge. And for us to be one of the worst counties in the states, it really means we need to be doing things much better.
Researchers have not been able to pinpoint why preterm births are so high in Fresno, but they do know an astounding 40% of Fresno's preterm births occur in a 2 by 5 mile sector with high poverty and poor access to health care.
The Preterm Birth Initiative was started here at Fresno State with the goal of giving every baby a healthy start. Right now, they're working on research to reduce preterm births and increase survival rates.
The Fresno Preterm Birth Initiative is a community effort where leaders from area hospitals, institutions of education, First 5 Fresno County, business, parents, and more have joined together.
We're trying to determine what is it social and emotional, is it poverty, is it the air pollution, is it where we live or environment? Is it the neighborhoods where families are living?
Nasia Harris was terrified her son David wasn't going to survive when he was born 8 weeks premature.
His heart wasn't fully developed, the main organs. I was just afraid and just numb.
She says her son is now 2 and healthy, but he spent 3 weeks in the hospital.
We have to get shots every 2 hours. And sometimes when they're premature, their veins they collapse and they're very small. And so I was afraid they were going to have to put one through his head.
Researchers have found the rates of preterm birth are higher for African American babies than any other group in Fresno County.
A lot of the African American here, after I told them my experience with my son, oh, that's normal. They see it as normal because it's so frequent. And that really surprised me.
A recent March of Dimes study revealed 2/3 of preterm births have no known biological explanation, which is why many are calling for the community to help support groups like the March of Dimes.
There are lots of little things that we can do in terms of education, in terms of advocacy, in terms of preconceptual health.
Harris is doing her part, now working with the Preterm Birth Initiative, sharing her story and informing mothers-to-be.
I don't believe that we have enough time with our doctors. The appointments are approximately 20 minutes.
Many mothers like Ledoux are fighting the stigma of preterm birth. She wants families to know it can happen to anyone.
It's very important to listen to your body, and if you feel that something isn't right, you know, it's okay to ask to see a physician. It's okay to keep going back because this is your baby and you're their advocate.
Jessica Porter, KSEE24, local news that matters.
In fact, there's an event coming up next month, October 24th, 5:30 in the afternoon, reducing infant mortality. It's with First 5 Fresno County. It's at Gaston Middle School. If you would like to go, you can RSVP info@first, again, the number 5 Fresno.org. A free event, and so lots of great information right there. The executive director of First 5 Fresno County, Emilia Reyes, you just got back from Africa, and you were there to talk about what Fresno County is doing when it comes to preterm birth.
Yes, so like you mentioned, Fresno County has one of the highest preterm birth rates in the world. That we attracted the attention of the Gates and Benioff Foundation to invest on trying to figure out why we have such a high rate of preterm births. And First 5 Fresno County, as you spoke earlier about our infant mortality work, is specifically in the African American community because the majority of our infant mortality rate is coming from that community.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think that we have something we could put on screen showing the rates that we see in African Americans, 17%, Caucasians 10%. I mean, it's a huge gap.
Yeah, and the African American community is 6% of our population. So there's a major discrepancy there. So, you know, as First 5, we care about all our children in Fresno County, and we want them to have the best start possible. That we recognized that and went to the community to find out how we can better support them because we know what we're doing right now is not working.
So when you go to Africa and you say this is what we're doing in Fresno County, what was the bullet point 1? This was the headline getter.
Well, obviously that we actually got community involvement. So the Preterm Birth Initiative and the African American Infant Mortality work, it takes a community to support these families in order to make a difference. So we have over 22 members in the Preterm Birth Initiative to really focus on how we can work together, align our efforts, and leverage our resources so we can make an impact in actually reducing that rate. And so you have government, community-based agencies, higher education, hospitals, the healthcare providers on trying to figure out what's going on in Fresno County and why do we have such a high preterm birth.
Yeah, Supervisor, you know, you were on the community hospital board. Yes. You were there when you funded to expand that NICU unit there at CRMC. Was this one of the reasons why?
Oh, absolutely. Just because the frequency in Fresno is so high, our CEO, Tim Jocelyn, recognized this problem and talked to the board. And while we have a great institution to our north, just that transportation from downtown to just a 10-minute drive really put our infants at risk. And so he talked to the board, and it was unanimous support of the board that we definitely had to expand that program. And now Dr. Rajani and his team just do a fantastic job. And it is it's a moving experience when you go there and see a child that's 3 or 4 pounds and can fit in the palm of your hand. And it's a living and breathing and just everything it takes to keep that child alive. And one of our board members actually had an experience with that, and now he has a full-grown son. It was just a really powerful thing to see.
I can only imagine, Senator. You know, you have twins who are now 13, but being twins, it's so much more likely that they come preterm. And you said maybe 6 weeks early. I can only imagine.
Yeah, they fit in my hands as well, both of them.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But you know, you can understand the emotional component for some of these. You know, what is the state doing? Because, Mayor, you know this, when it comes to small rural towns here in the valley like we have, access to quality health care a lot of times, and then combined with the poverty that we see a lot of times, that right there is a problem. What is the state doing to try to help out?
Well, again, that's just a shocking number. That's unbelievable. That's in the United States of America, we have rates that are that high. But again, I think we're trying to take some of the burden off. I think again with the expanded health care, with helping parents be successful. I know a family. They're very poor. They have 2 children. They're new to our area, and they can't afford child care. They can't afford anything. And so my family, we're helping them out as much as we can. But we literally knew them one day, and they said, "Please watch our kids." And that's the state of so many people that live up and down the valley. They're so desperate, and they have no resources. So I think it's important to try to get those resources to the families, so that they can do the things that are necessary to take care of their kids. And I think local government is the best at doing that because they're the closest to the people, but it's really a partnership amongst all levels of government.
What have you seen that's worked well in your community, Mayor?
Yeah, just networking and trying to figure out what's available for them, and if they don't have a way to get to the doctor, provide them. There is services out there that do get the transportation. I know that United Health Centers does that. They'll have transportation to make sure that they get to their appointments, because sometimes it's lack of transportation. So it's a lot of factoring of what we can do to help them to make sure that they get the medical attention, because it is very, very critical, especially at the beginning of the first trimester. The first trimester is very important. That's when the baby's mainly developing, and so it's very important to get them there. And if they don't have the transportation, is just seeking the resources that are available in the community.
How big of a concern is it, do you think, to your residents? Access to health care.
Access, the good thing is that we do have a clinic that does provide those services, and they cover a lot of areas, dental, they have the vision, and they also have the WIC services. WIC program we have there too, so they get the nutrition, they get educated as far as how important it is to make sure that they eat healthy as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of services that are provided with the United Health Centers, and they have the transportation that picks them up and makes sure that they get to their appointments. And they understand the importance of that.
But that is a big problem in the valley, is lack of doctors. We don't have, if you look at the ratio of doctors to the population, we lag way behind a lot of other places in the state. And so that's another thing we can do, is we're trying to get a medical school, whether it's UC Merced or Fresno State, to do what we can to increase the number of doctors. We just got a bill signed that I've been pushing for, to have more doctors do their residency in the valley, and the hope is that they'll put roots down, they'll stay here, and fortunately we're able to expand that to about 40 doctors a year. So we didn't get into this problem overnight. It's going to take some time to get out, but at least we're talking about it, and we're, I think we're making small progress, but there's a lot more we have to do.
But as you can see, there's not one thing that can fix the preterm birth rate here in Fresno County. It really does take all of us to come together and figure out what we can do to actually reduce that rate.
Especially when so much is still unknown at this point, really. All right, we'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. The joy of becoming a new parent, it can soon become a financial nightmare.
You hear the high prices and whatnot, but you don't think about it until you become a parent.
Yeah, you thought college was expensive? Try putting a couple of toddlers in childcare. Tonight, First 5 Fresno County is lending a helping hand. We'll tell you how next.
Tonight on Blind Spot, she's deep undercover.
You need to prove you're one of us. A test, an assassination.
Now, it's her moment of truth. Do it. Then on SBU, he was wrongly convicted.
We were able to identify the real rapist.
But a new crime points back to the same suspect.
The guy we just got out of prison?
And on Chicago PD.
What we have is a white woman missing in the ghetto.
A case so heated, it could ignite the city.
You know CPD ain't welcome in the gardens.
A night of new drama, tonight on NBC.
At Papa Murphy's, love means using only chicken raised without antibiotics. Tonight, home bake a large chicken garlic with grilled chicken, tomatoes, green onions, and creamy garlic sauce, and share the love. Just $7 when you order at papamurphys.com.
Now is the time. Now is the time to buy the furniture you've always wanted at the lowest prices of the year. Serrano's Furniture's end of summer sale is going on now. Save 10, 20, up to 50% on all furniture in stock and ready to be delivered. Save on all living room sets, all bedrooms and casual dining sets. See the biggest top green leather motion furniture selection in the valley. Serrano's Furniture's end of summer sale now in progress at all Serrano's Furniture locations. Serrano's Furniture, now bigger than ever.
You look so good, I almost feel bad eating you. but with juicy chicken bites and a tangy sweet and spicy sauce with world-famous seasoned fries for just $2. The good deals are never safe. The Sweet and Spicy Chicken Bites box. Chicken bites and sweet and spicy sauce with fries. Also available in classic or buffalo for just $2. Checkers and Rallies. Fast foodies know the deal.
Tonight on Blind Spot, she's deep undercover.
You need to prove you're one of us. A test, an assassination.
Now, it's her moment of truth. Do it. Then on SBU, he was wrongly convicted.
We were able to identify the real rapist.
But a new crime points back to the same suspect.
The guy we just got out of prison?
And on Chicago PD,
What we have is a white woman missing in the ghetto.
a case so heated it could ignite the city.
You know CPD ain't welcome in the gardens.
A night of new drama tonight on NBC.
I'm Kevin Bull, star of American Ninja Warrior, extreme athlete, and big fan of the Aerial Ninja Obstacle Course. Are you ready to jump in?
KSEE24 and First 5 Fresno County bring you a live forum. This is Early Childhood Matters.
You just saw that number. It's higher in California, trust me. The joy of becoming a new parent can soon clash with a hard reality, and that is the crushing cost of child care. For some families, the cost of child care for just one child is like having to pay 2 mortgages. It's a tough hurdle, but there is help out there, and First 5 Fresno County is at the forefront.
We don't want to use this.
At 17 months, Charlotte does not really need a reason to not want the ball. But when it comes to childcare, her parents had about 1,000 reasons to want to say no.
Pretty much standard rate was about $1,000.
$1,000
a month.
A month. She's smiling now, but Cian Rocha says shopping around for childcare kind of, well, you know, stinks.
The joy of being pregnant and then having the baby, but then it just all hits you and you have that realization that, oh, this is that expense that everyone was talking about.
You hear the high prices and whatnot, but you don't think about it until you become a parent.
Both of Charlotte's parents work full-time. Cian at the hospital, Michael as a counselor at a nearby school. And even with 2 incomes, an extra $1,000 a month was not going to work.
That's a mortgage payment for many families, and to have 2 mortgage payments in the month is insurmountable for so many families, no matter dual income families or not.
Hannah Norman is the Director of Strategic Initiatives for First 5 Fresno County, an organization dedicated to maximizing the critical first 5 years of a child's life, like making sure local kids have access to good care.
Not only are our brains shaped by our genetics, but they're largely shaped by our experiences. So it's such a critical time to invest in our children in their first 5 years of life.
But here's the problem. The majority of mothers go back to work before their baby's first birthday. And in Fresno County, Norman says less than 5% of infants and toddlers with the working parent have access to a facility designed for infants and toddlers. And then there's the cost. According to the latest census figures, the average income for a Fresno County family is $45,000. The average annual cost for infant-toddler care is $12,000. That means child care takes up more than 1/4 of a family's income, and that's just for one kid.
We want to make sure that we're reaching every child wherever they are so that they have access across the board, no matter their family's income or their background. It's really a social justice issue.
Families in poverty qualify for financial help from the state, but there is very little help for working families. Most make too much money to qualify, yet not enough to actually afford it. And that's where First 5 Fresno County and the Lighthouse for Children come in.
We have what's called a blended funding site, where we use funding from multiple funding streams, including private pay tuition and state subsidized care, and then also a First 5 Fresno County scholarship.
Norman says the scholarship is one of a kind. It works on a sliding scale. Make more, you get a smaller discount. Make less, you get a bigger break.
See?
Charlotte's parents, 2 incomes, 1 child, get half off.
we were so excited to find out that there was something that we could qualify for. There's a lot of programs out there to help the lower income families, but we just fit in this bracket where there's just no assistance.
It's still not cheap. Even with the scholarship, Cian and Michael pay about $600 a month. But that's $600 they can manage. In fact, they feel like they're really getting their money's worth.
They definitely focus on development and having, as she grows, toys and educational things that will help her, challenge her throughout her development. She loves it. In fact, when we walk from the parking lot, she's cheering, "School!" It's adorable.
It's okay. It's a good thing kids are adorable, because they sure are not very affordable. No, they are not. We're back here with our great panel. Joining us here, District Attorney Smittcamp with us. One thing I did not mention in that story is that the risks that some families put their children in because they really have no other options. So they're putting their kids in places that maybe they wouldn't prefer, but they just don't have any other options, really.
Right. Unfortunately, that scenario presents itself to us on a frequent basis.
Really?
Yes, where we see children who are physically and sexually abused by people who are in charge of their care. Oftentimes, they are neighbors, family members. A lot of times, they are single moms who are working, and they trust a boyfriend or someone they're dating to watch their children.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, not only is there physical abuse, because the person who is left in charge of the care of the child simply doesn't have the skill set to manage that child. We see physical child abuse and sometimes shaken baby syndrome and sometimes even death.
Yeah,
so it's a very serious issue.
How many stories have we done here on KSEE24 of just, heartbreaking situations where kids are put in with people who really don't know what they're doing?
That's correct.
We mentioned the scholarship program at Lighthouse for Children being very, very rare. Jim, in Fresno Unified, in school programs in general, for say preschool,
right? How
available for families is a free or reduced cost preschool?
It's becoming more and more available, which is a good thing. I mean, we've all heard of this model, this funding formula now for schools, local control funding formula. Our school districts, whether it's our 4th largest school district in the county, Fresno Unified, or our rural districts like Firebaugh, Fowler, who are now saying, look, it's important. We know if we're going to impact the life of a child, we need to start early. So they're able to use the flexibility of those dollars to create more preschool programs for their kids, and they've done it. So we're moving in the right direction with money from our schools.
But that money, the source of that money, when it comes to early childhood education like that, where is that coming from? For when kids get that free and reduced cost preschool.
Well, there's a couple of models. One, I'm talking about monies where districts can prioritize that. The other is transitional kindergarten, which is a whole other topic we haven't even talked about today. Because now, for the first time, or the last 3 years, kids have an opportunity, instead of being 4 years, 8 months and entering kindergarten, they're now in a transitional program, so they're getting that one extra year, that boost, before they actually start. So that's that catch-up year. But we're actually going further down to 4-year-olds, and that's what our school districts are looking at now to make a difference in a kid's life. They're utilizing their own resources. Plus, we are all, when we look at policy, we're all now working on a way to use state preschool dollars and to spread those resources further with our families.
Yeah, the state preschool dollars, Senator, a lot of this stuff, there's only so much money to go around. And there's always a push and pull, I understand. How is your office and how do your colleagues kind of handle when it comes to choosing when to put more money towards this sort of stuff?
Well, I think, again, the biggest thing we've done in the last several years is the local control funding formula, which really, not only are we giving more money, a lot more money, probably 40% than we were giving in 2010, but we've taken the strings off of them. There's no categorical, so the school districts now can use that money how they see fit for their particular area. And also, areas that struggle with poverty or English learners or foster kids, they get even additional money to use for their school district. So I think that's been a big help. Now, when it comes to preschool, there's been bills to have preschool for every child. Well, I voted for that. The governor vetoed that. So I think again there's a real agreement when it comes to the legislature about investing in kids, because look, I think that's the right thing to do from a moral standpoint, but also just from a we're going to pay later. So and just like we're talking about now, you pay now or you're going to pay a lot more later. And so investing in kids when they're young, actually I think throughout until they're 18 and maybe beyond that, I think it's important just from a societal standpoint.
Evan, I can tell you as a former school board member of Kerman, that was one of the greatest challenges we had. The state was really generous and had expanded the funding for our preschool program. The issue is that the qualifications are so tight that it's hard for everyone to qualify. And while, in Kerman Unified, 88% are on free and reduced lunch, it's that 12% are getting squeezed. It's those that have a job and are doing it but can't afford, as they mentioned earlier, that $1,000. That's why I really like First Five. They have the scholarship programs, so the people in the middle aren't being left out as well. And that's just a huge advantage that First Five offers that a lot of districts just can't do.
Emilia, I noticed that there was a lot of room for growth in that building. It's a big, beautiful building. Big is one of the things. There's multiple classrooms. It looks like there's still room for you guys to go. And you want to make it equal, right, between the scholarship students and the full-paying students and the ones receiving state financing.
So our goal with developing the Child Development Center on the first floor is really to create a model where we can braid and blend funding and basically diversify the population we're serving. So of the 100 kids that we serve from 6 weeks of age to 6 years of age, 10% are children with special needs, 30% is private pay where the families can't afford the child care, and then another 30% stays subsidized, and the remaining 30 is that scholarship that First Five provides. And the reason why we wanted to create that is to show school districts as well as other child care providers that there's a way that you can serve a diverse population and be able to serve the middle class as well, the working class actually. But it does take someone to take that initiative to create the model in order to be replicated.
Absolutely. Really quick, I just want to finish with you, Mayor, because I haven't talked to you in this segment. Looking for grants, I know as a mayor, it's looking for funding at all times.
Correct. And it's very hard because of the fact that we have to compete against larger cities, and so it's not a very easy thing to get. The funding and the resources could be out there, but the disadvantaged communities are not going to be able to get these fundings because we do compete with other cities that are, the numbers are higher, and there's more need too.
Well, I tell you what, I just want to thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I've learned a lot. I hope our viewers have learned a lot. And thank you very much. Appreciate it. Once again, if you want to learn more about First Five, go to their website, first5fresno.org. Send them an email, info@first5fresno.org. So that wraps it up for this First Five Fresno County Live Forum. Again, thanks to all of you. And thank you for you.